Whenever my mother sees me on television cooking, she's like, Carla, aren't you glad you're not doing accounting? With that voice. I am. But I think something that pays well that you don't feel that your heart is in, you're paying in a different way. You're getting the paycheck, but at the end of the day, you're giving up a part of your soul, I think. And I know that feels dramatic, but in my 24-year-old mind, I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't be. I saw this accountant folding a piece of paper and lining up the edges, and I was like, oh my God, that cannot be me at 40.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to How She Does It, where we get a chance to connect with women who have built successful careers, often breaking some molds along the way. And we ask them how they do it. I'm Karen Finerman. I'm a longtime Wall Street investor, a mom of four, and a panelist on CNBC's Fast Money. The moment Carla Hall appears on screen, she commands your attention. She is funny, authentic, and someone you'd really like to sit down and sip tea with. She is a former caterer and culinary instructor who rose to fame through appearances on Top Chef All-Stars and 7 seasons as a co-host of The Chew on ABC. These days, she hosts a number of shows, including Next Level Baker on Fox and Food Network's Holiday Baking Championships and Worst Cooks in America. That's a show that sounds like I could actually be on. She is also an award-winning cookbook author, has her own product line called Sweet Heritage on QVC, and just released her second children's book. All of this is even more remarkable when you learn that she began her professional life as an accountant before deciding to build a career based on her love of making and sharing delicious food. Carla and I chatted about reuniting with her Chew co-hosts, Clinton Kelly and Michael Simon, for their new YouTube show and podcast, plus her latest project designed to help women through professional and personal changes, and how in 2026, she's realizing a lifelong ambition, doing something she's never done before. She is really fun. Enjoy the conversation. Carla Hall, thank you so much for being here.
It is so great to meet you and to see you and to be here.
So I know you're running all around. You got so many things on your plate, literally, pun intended, I guess. I don't know. So our audience knows you best from your culinary television projects. Mm-hmm. But I hear that a major dream of yours is coming true very soon.
Okay, which dream is that? Because I'm a 7 on Enneagram. So is that my one-woman show?
It is.
Okay, yes. I am so excited. I've been building the runway to this for the last 5 years. And I want to say that because a lot of times you mention like your dreams and people say, oh, it just happened, it just fell into your lap. No. So it's Carla Hall, Please Underestimate Me. And it starts next year from June 3rd until July 12th. If they do another 2-week pickup, it'll go until July 28th. And it is the story of my life. The framework is me on a cooking talk show. And it is just me. It's about 80 minutes long. And I wrote it with Lori Kay and Leslie Thomas, and we started writing it February of 2023.
Mm-hmm. How do you get that to go from writing the project to coming to life?
Great question. So I didn't know how I wanted this thing to be. I wanted to be the Black Carol Burnett. And after The Chew, I just kept thinking about, you know what, I really want to do a one-woman show. And I would just tell people, until finally I mentioned it to Leslie, who was the showrunner on Halloween Baking Championships. She was like, hey, I would love to work with you on that. Her wife was doing something with a workshop on a one-woman show, and she had done something. So we came together that February of 2023. We started talking. They started interviewing me, and we were just seeing what it looked like. So then I had done something adjacent to the Apollo, and I was like, what do you think about me doing a one-woman show? And so she's like, write something up. So we wrote something up. We got it to them. We didn't hear anything. Crickets. But sometimes you need to have the party in order to clean your house. You know what I mean? Right. You invite them. I mean,
thought of it
plan
that way,
it,
yes.
and they will come. You know what I mean? So I had an interview with Kim Severson, and I said, I really want to do a one-woman show. And because it was in that article, that story, the Olney Theater in Olney, Maryland, say, hey, we read about you doing a one-woman show, and we would love to invite you if you want to do this workshop here. And so we did a workshop last September of 2024, a week-long workshop. After the workshop, they invited me to be a part of the 2025-26 season. So I'm like, yes. So it took a minute.
Mm-hmm. But it's happening.
It's happening.
That's
I'm so
fantastic.
nervous and scared, but it's a really good scared.
Uh-huh.
I'm scared. I'm not fearful. It's a difference.
Yes. Someone said to me, anxiety is really excitement. Yes.
Yes.
So your path is really kind of incredible, especially considering how it all started. You were an accountant and you were on the road to accounting greatness, it seemed to me, at a firm like Price Waterhouse.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? And how did you decide, wow, this is not for me?
So, I mean, first of all, accounting was a backup. I wanted to do theater. I wanted to major in theater. I didn't get into Boston University, or they were going to defer my admission. So I was like, okay, I'll go to Howard. My sister was going to Howard. I'm like, okay. I felt rejection from theater. I liked my accounting teacher. So I said, okay, accounting. And then they groom you to want to work for the Big Eight at the time. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, I'll take the CPA exam. Okay. And then here I am. I'm like, oh, I hate this. So I quit. But when I quit, I went to Paris and then I started modeling. But for me, I was so afraid of being 40 and hating my job. Mm-hmm. That was the impetus for so much. And a lot of people will stay in something. I'm like, oh no, my spirit knows it cannot do something that I'm not into. I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. So that strength, though, to leave something that's pays well and is secure.
But are you secure? Because I think something that pays well that you don't feel that your heart is in, you're paying in a different way. You're getting the paycheck, but at the end of the day, you're giving up a part of your soul, I think.
For security.
For security, exactly. And I know that feels dramatic, but in my 24-year-old mind, I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't be. I saw this accountant folding a piece of paper and lining up the edges, and I was like, oh my God, that cannot be me at 40. So I'd rather be broke and happy.
When you look back at yourself at 24, are you grateful to you for making that leap?
100%. Absolutely. Whenever my mother sees me on television cooking, she's like, Carla, aren't you glad you're not doing accounting? With that voice. Uh-huh. I am. I think I was more afraid of what could have happened if I didn't move. You know, that scared me more than going to a country where I didn't know anybody or not knowing the language, because I went to Paris. The fear of my soul dying, I keep going back to it. It seems dramatic, but that is scarier to me than the unknown. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. So you're in Paris, you're doing your modeling thing, and somehow you end up in the catering business.
Yes. So when we were in Paris, the models would get together at this woman's house, Elaine, and she would have these Sunday suppers. And the girls would say, oh, we'd make macaroni and cheese and like buffalo wings, stuff like that. Stuff that people don't think models eat, but yeah, they were housing the stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to make macaroni and cheese. People are like, well, my mother makes it like this, or my mother makes it like this. I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea how macaroni and cheese is made. I mean, I had it every week at my grandmother's house. And so I'm very competitive, and I didn't like not knowing. So I started going to the American bookstore and buying cookbooks and sort of cooking out of them as an act of gratitude for the people who were housing me and letting me sleep on their couch. So that sort of became my interest in food. And I saw recipes like puzzles. You have the ingredients, you have the recipe, and then you cook and you come out with this thing. It's like a puzzle. I like puzzles. And then I just kept doing it. And then I started a lunch delivery service when I came back home. And then 5 years later, I went to culinary school at 30. I mean, that's sort of how it happened.
Mm-hmm. So that was sort of another pivot.
Oh, yeah.
How did you come to that realization?
I think I had been doing this lunch delivery service, and I had the practical experience. At some point, I wanted to understand the theory behind it, like why things worked. And I'd already been to college, so I didn't want to go to a 2-year program. So I went to l'Académie de Cuisine, which was a 6-month program, and then we went for externships. And then I started working in restaurants.
And then did you think, okay, I've found what I wanted to do?
You know, as you ask that question, I feel like I enjoyed it, but I always feel like something could take its place. I am very fluid like that in my life and my work because I could set up goals, but I actually don't know what's going to happen a month down the road or 2 months down the road. I am absolutely flexible, and that's my personality. Do you know Enneagrams?
No.
So it's a personality test. I'm a 7, which
okay.
is the adventurer. I love an assessment, by the way. So once I take an assessment and I have the language to understand how I behave in a particular situation, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense that I get bored doing the same thing over and over. So if something comes along and it's better, I'm like, okay, deuces, I'm off to the next thing. So even with career. So I have learned that I'm not impatient. It's just something comes along and I'm open to changing directions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this sounds like a good place for the question. Your husband, that was a change.
It was a change. I didn't think I was going to get married. At 30, I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to get married. And my friend was like, why don't you do Match.com? And I was like, okay. My name was Scrabble Girl. What nerdy person is going to name themselves Scrabble Girl? I'm like, I am calling all nerds. I don't want anybody who doesn't like nerds.
Did any spelling bee guy approach you?
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, my whole thing was if you cannot spell, if you cannot conjugate verbs, if you cannot write things down, I am not interested in you at all. Matthew wrote this tome. I thought this thing was single space, 2 pages if you print it out. And I had my friend look at my Match.com stuff because I was working in restaurants. I wasn't at a desk, so I'm not online. So I call her one day. She said, girl, I think I'm reading this thing from your husband. I'm like, what? So on the other side, it turned out that he had been doing Match for the first free month, and then he didn't get any prospects. But then they had renewed his subscription and he got charged for it. And he was like, wait, what? I thought I was going to cancel it. And so like, we don't refund. So he was like, okay. He did a George Costanza. He was like 5'4" or taller. He did 5'10" or taller. He was like, somebody's been married. Okay, never been married. Somebody with kids. Okay, no kids. I popped up. I pop up to the exact opposite that he was putting down in his profile. And we were both in D.C. We had both gone to Howard University. We had never met. Our lives were literally like sliding doors. And then we met.
And did you know right away?
I did. I knew right away. Well, that's not true. He knew, he said, when I got out of the car. And I knew 2 weeks later. I'm a little slow. I mean, but 2 weeks, come on.
2 weeks, it's amazing.
The funny thing is, when I went to meet him, I just got my clothes out of the dryer. I was like, let me just throw on a skirt. Let me throw on a T-shirt. My friends are like, is that what you're dressing like? Is that what you're wearing? I'm like, yes, because if he doesn't like this, he's not going to like me. This is how much effort I put in pretty much every day. I wasn't interested in, and mind you, I was 42. In my 40s, my bucket of was already starting to develop. So I'm going to be exactly who I am. And we connected.
And it was your husband who encouraged you to try out for Top Chef?
He did. He was watching Top Chef. I wasn't even watching it. I didn't even know about Top Chef. I was working, and he said there's a show called Top Chef, and then a friend said, hey, you should audition. And then I ended up auditioning, and then they called me, and they were like, are you alone? And I'm in this big kitchen and catering. I turned to the corner. I'm like, yes. I'm
Let me just face that way. Yes, I'm alone.
I'm alone. Yeah, it was a really great experience. And at the time, I think being 44, a caterer, and like an older Black woman to do this show, it was out of character for anybody who had done it. So, yeah, there I was, having an adventure.
So when you're cooking for your friends, what do you try to bring to meals that is uniquely Carla?
I think one of the things that I make for my friends are dishes that I love, dishes that mean something to me because I want them to feel a sense of home. And I may put a spin on it. Like I might do a chicken pot pie, or I might do chicken and dumplings, or I might do some kind of meatloaf balls with the beautiful mashed potatoes. But those chicken and dumplings might be lemon-scented dumplings where people can just gather around. And I will want approachable food for sure. Food that you can make ahead and can sit on the stove. People get pots of food. Like there's that. And then there's the one sit-down Thanksgiving dinner that I wanted to be so fancy one year. This was like before Top Chef, where I went and bought this fancy china. We ate on it. I washed it. I dried it. I put it back in a box, and it went back to the store. And we had this fancy Thanksgiving meal. This is when I was catering, and I thought I had to be so highbrow. So I've moved away from that. So now when I cook for people, it really is food that's approachable and just delicious and about community.
Okay, so how did you get to the Chew?
So after Top Chef season 8, All Stars, they were interviewing for the Chew. And so they just had a lot of random people come to the casting. And I happened to be in New York before I went back to DC, and I went and they were like, "Hey, we don't like you." And then True. And so it wasn't until a year later that they were totally revamped. They had chosen 5 other people. Daphne Oz was part of that first 5. And then they totally revamped the show. And then that's when they did another casting and another chemistry test, and they called me in. And then it was like 3 days later, we were being named the cast of the Chew. So Mario Batali, Clinton Kelly, Michael Simon, myself, and Daphne Oz. I mean, it happened really, really fast.
It seems like it just takes over your life all of a sudden. It's like 100 miles an hour.
It was 100 miles an hour. I remember asking my husband, should I do this? Because the show was in New York. And so we talked about it as a couple because I had to live in New York. I had to pay for my apartment. I had the expense of going up to New York every week. And so he was like, okay. I mean, it was a family decision. And so I decided to do it. And that's what I did for 7 years, like 1,200 episodes. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I know.
I know that Chew was great, but there were also some issues for you with the Chew.
The first 3 years, I thought I was going to get fired. Is that one of the issues?
It was, I think, yes, not feeling confident and not feeling valued.
Yeah, I didn't feel confident. I felt like I wasn't seen. I felt like as a Black woman, no one knew how to help me step into my power. And I know it has to come from me. After I want to say the first season, Clinton Kelly was like, oh, maybe the ladies should go see a media trainer. Now, up to this point, I had never seen a media trainer. I had just walked off of Top Chef and then into this national television show, being a host and all of this. And so when I saw the media trainer, it was all about, she said, I want to make you the best version of yourself. And when you look into the camera, I want you to see your next boss. For whatever reason, when she told me that, I felt immediately like, child, let me look for a new job. I mean, you know what I mean? And I remember just working on confidence and being natural, also listening skills. I think as a woman, sometimes, so it's 3 guys who have this experience. And then you have the newbies, which are women. They're going to take over because they're holding the show up. And so we don't get in there, right? And whereas when we have the ball, we'll do these little tosses to them. Well, they keep the ball. Do you know what I mean? I mean, even though
Yes.
It wasn't on purpose, and I really liked everybody, but I just felt like it was very challenging. And the producer came up to me one time and he said, the guys are better than you are. And I was like, huh. And I remember being so frustrated. And before he said that, Gladys Knight was on the show. And I'm like, oh my God, Gladys Knight is coming to the show. She's from the South. She's from Georgia. I know I'm going to cook with her. No, I didn't get to cook with her. Michael cooked with her, and they made smothered chicken, like a Southern dish. No diss to Michael, but I think when the show was new, I felt like the producers micromanaged it to the point where they wanted to make sure it was successful, but it wasn't developing the talent on the show, right? So when I was told the guys were better, I think something broke in me. And I called the meeting. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to have to make a switch. I think this is where I'm going to leave this show. And I remember going into this meeting and saying, if you didn't think about that, I would want to cook with Gladys Knight because I'm from the South and with the same background. That is your report card and you fail. And if there was some reason that you didn't want to have me there and you didn't share that with me, that is your report card and you fail. And I think in that moment, I really had the efforts because I was like, I'm going to say everything I need to say, because if I'm fired after this, I don't want to sit at home and say I wish I had have
Right.
said whatever. And then at the end of that, the executive producer was like, okay. Oh, by the way, I brought Daphne into the meeting. She was with me in the beginning. And when I was doing all this, she was like, child, I'm not with her.
Right. I'm good with whatever you give me. Yeah.
I'm not good with her. I didn't know this was going down. And he was like, all right, you're ready to get to work. And why that's so important, one of the things that, as I was talking to a friend, I was really trying to get to my authenticity, but I didn't know how, and I allowed them to tell me who the authentic Carla was. And then once you realize, hey, I have nothing to lose, just like on Top Chef, when I thought I was going home, I didn't have anything to lose. That's when you start to do your best work. And that's when I started to do my best work on the Chew. But I tell you, there was another moment when I really wanted to do things other than cook on the show. Mm-hmm. Clinton Kelly got to host the game shows. He got to do the crafts. I mean, he got to do all the fun stuff. I'm like, why do I have to just cook? And I wanted to do a game show. And after I saw the media trainer, I came back that next season and they were like, oh, you're gonna host a game. I was like, oh my God, I've been doing the work. I was so excited. Karen, when I tell you, I was like, all of this, all the work that I've put into it is paying off. And I went through the rehearsal. I did this whole thing. And at the end of the rehearsal, like, oh, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be Clinton.
Really?
I was crushed. I mean, even now, I feel like some of that emotion is still in my body. Uh-huh. I was crushed. I excused myself. I went to the bathroom. I cried a little bit. I came out. And then I never told anybody about it. Season 5, the last show of that season, they were like, hey, do you want to host a game? And I'm like, are you sure? Now, that was season 2 when that happened. This is season 5. And afterwards, I got to host a game. That was wonderful. That was great, Carla. And I leaned over and I just started crying, and I didn't want to mess up my makeup, so the tears are just dropping down on the floor.
You wanted to drop down straight.
Right, yeah. Exactly. I don't want to ruin my makeup.
Okay.
And they were like, what's wrong? And I reminded them of that moment. But nobody knew but me what that meant. You know what I mean? How far I had gone. So there were so many challenges, but also so many triumphs. And I don't know if those triumphs they were for me personally, but they were so closed off from me sharing them with anybody, there at the job.
Did you have any, not necessarily a chef, but any Black woman to look up to as a role model?
I spoke to Sherry Shepherd. I spoke to Sade Benoit. I talked to her because I really thought I was going crazy. I said, I have to talk to somebody else. It was even a whole thing with my hair, and then going gray on television. And I remember Michael Simon had done Movember, so he grew his mustache. Mm-hmm. And that's in November. And then the makeup artist was saying, oh, when are you going to get your hair done? Because my hair was very gray at the temples. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not coloring my hair. She was like, what? I go down for the morning meeting, and I walked in, and I said, I declare this day, Snowcember. It was December 1st. And I am not going to color my hair anymore. And the ABC exec said, oh, we'll see. Girl, I'm a tourist. Let me tell you, you may as well have sealed the deal. And I turned to him and I said, I need you to send me an email about that. Okay. Send me an email. And then from that point on, I said, I'm not coloring my hair. And mainly because I had a couple of friends who were older who were trying to get jobs, and they were facing age discrimination. And so it was sort of an act of defiance and also just advocating for women. And I don't care if you color your hair, but it should be your decision.
Mm-hmm. One of the things on the Chew, you had the opportunity to interview Carol Burnett.
Yes. We walked into the Chew talking about who would you like to interview. I wanted to be the Black Carol Burnett. So I was like Carol Burnett.
From when you were a kid?
From when I was a kid. From when I was 12. I'm like, I wanted to be the Black Carol Burnett. I love theater. So she was my person. And I got to meet her at the Paley Awards. And in February of the last year of the Chew in 2018, they were like, Carol Burnett's coming. They told me in February, you're going to get to meet her. You're going to get to interview her. I'm like, oh my God. So this was going to happen in May. 2 weeks before it happened, the executive producer said, you're not going to do it. We think that you're going to fangirl, and this is really important, and we can't let you do it. And I was so calm and I advocated for myself. It was like the words, my spirit guides, whoever you want to say, just gave me the words to advocate for myself, to give examples when I did really great interviews and blah, blah, blah. Now, then this is also 7 years into the Chew, okay? And they were like, okay, you can interview her. And the interview went without a hitch. I loved it. There was so much energy, like angst in me. I tugged my ear with Carol. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just and I just started crying because it was so amazing. But it was everything I wanted it to be. And she's so delightful and down to earth, and just with her Snapple and enchiladas, and I loved it.
Was that your favorite moment of the Chew?
Hands down. Hands down. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to your famous fall on stage at the James Beard event. I feel like you are a skilled comedian in a Carol Burnett or a Lucille Ball kind of way.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke. So I was hosting the show for the James Beard Awards, and I put on stockings because I had some plastic boots earlier. Now, stockings are like Spanx for your feet. Now, all of a sudden, your little size 10 shoe, your foot's 9.5 and your shoe is 10 because you have on stockings. And so I was running, doing the parade of the chefs, and I'm running, and I literally heard all of these thoughts. Uh-oh, I'm about to fall. How do I want to fall? Engage the core, make it big. I literally had all those thoughts. It was like a baseball player when that ball slows down. And I went down, and I'm doing my legs like this, and I'm turning them, and then this chef tries to help me, and I'm crawling away from him so that I don't mess me up. I don't want to, and I almost kicked him in the head. But then the audience is like, what just happened? And then I ran downstage, and I'm like, y'all know that shit was funny? And then the audience had this release, and they actually thought it was real. They thought I planned it. But this is like, for me, it's like, it's not about the fall. It's like, what do you do after the fall? And if you're hosting, you have to take care of the audience. So I couldn't have the audience thinking, oh my God, she fell, and not thinking about the show for the rest of the show, right? So I had to make it a thing, own it, and then let it move on. So that was actually one of my most proudest moments. I know it's crazy.
No, I get it. That was amazing. All right, so let's go now to Chewed Up.
Yes. Oh my God. So fun. Okay, can I tell you about the name?
Yeah.
So, so I mean, we've had Clinton Kelly, Michael Simon, and I have had this 15-year-long text chain. And, we've talked about coming back after the Chew, and it almost came back a couple of times, like through ABC. And we were like, let's come back and let's call the show Chewed Up and Spit Out What ABC Did to Us.
Sort of a long title.
So we were like, okay, Spit Out is not good for a food show. So we just kept Chewed Up. So that's how we came to the title. It's a podcast. It's on YouTube. It's Chewed Up Show on the website. And the three of us are unhinged. We own it. Simply Adian is our fourth partner, our production partner, and we're having the best time. It is 30-minute shows, 3 episodes a week, and it is absolutely the best time. And we were like, okay, let's give it 6 months. It works. If it doesn't, it's okay. No harm, no foul.
So you guys are funding this?
We're funding it. Right now, we're not getting paid.
Who can you speak to about that?
So exactly, who can we speak to? We have a lot of partners and brands that are helping to pay for it. Right now, it's really just to produce it, and it's just fun. Right now, it's just we want to do it.
Well, I've seen it. It looks like you three on a play date making some food.
That's it. And that's what it feels like. And you know what? You always know you're in the right space with a project when you're not exhausted by it, you're energized by it, and you want to continue it. And that's how I feel. I love those guys so much, and I don't know how long this is going to last. Someone said, if it keeps going, maybe the networks will pick you up. I'm like, God forbid, I'm out. If the networks pick it up, I'm out. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have a bunch of bosses. I am like that child, that person.
You are unbound. Yeah.
Unhinged. I tell you about that bucket. Come on. We have taken care of the family. We've taken care of our jobs. But at the end of the day, we take care of everyone but ourselves. And so what happens when you turn to yourself and you do an assessment and you see what your strengths are, when you look at hope, possibility, acceptance, reframe, what happens when you turn that into yourself? What do you find?
So you have said you're constantly looking for why something happens. I'm quoting you. I may not know in the moment. I may not even know in 5 years, but I'm constantly asking myself, why did I experience this? How has that helped you? And what have you learned?
I think it helps me be flexible. It helps me be accepting. It helps me reframe experiences and also see the possibility in things. And so when I think about all those things that I'm mentioning, I have turned this into a personal development program. And so the Me Menu is an online coaching platform that I do with Deb Regal. And she is an executive coach. And we had another friend wrote this program, Kirsten Bischoff. And we are turning this into something that I feel like women 50 plus need to have main dish energy. We have taken care of the family, we've taken care of our jobs, but at the end of the day, we take care of everyone but ourselves. And so what happens when you turn to yourself and you do an assessment and you see what your strengths are, when you look at hope, possibility, acceptance, reframe, what happens when you turn that into yourself, and on the other side of it, what do you find?
What did you find?
My muscle of imagining is the strongest. So that's how I flex. So I have a really great creative mind, and my idea rate is really high. And one of the things that I have to work on is, it talks about how I may be impatient with others. Like I want them to catch up and process information as quickly as I do because I'm on to the next thing. So in addition to giving you all of the highs, it also helps you like what you have to work on. And so at least once a week, I turn to it and I go through these exercises and I have these introspective conversations and thoughts. And then the sous chef gives me these things back that I can work on. And it's not always easy to hear or to do, but you always feel like somebody's on your team.
And so for you, what's the hardest thing?
I think the hardest thing, one, is to remember this is an investment in you, like in terms of your time. You have to do it. Whatever you put in is the thing that you're going to get out. Sometimes when I have to remind myself, when I think I'm really busy and I don't have time to do things, I'm like, but am I too busy for myself? Right. That's the reminder.
Okay, so where can people find this?
You can find it. You can go to my website, carlahall.com, but you can also go straight to the website, thememenu.com, and just think me menu. It's all about me. Thememenu.com.
Okay. One other thing I wanted to ask you. Okay, so I watched QVC.
Yes.
And I cannot cook one single thing. But the pans,
Yes.
I really thought, wow, this is kind of genius.
Yeah.
That you can pour out of them.
Yes.
Right? And that you can flip things.
Yes. Yes.
Were you integral in the design of these?
Yes. One of the things that, like with my idea rate, I think about myself as a chef, and I really want people to be successful in the kitchen. There are things that I can do because I'm trained and I have the technique and the skill, but there are also things that I think are be really great for the home cook. And so I create from that perspective. It's not about what I know, but what I hope you to gain in the kitchen and the skills with this pan. So I have a proprietary 8 coatings of this nonstick in my pans, and you can literally put a piece of cheese in the pan. You can put a piece of bread, you can melt that, and you can wipe it out, and here, no cheese is stuck to the pan. My bakeware has the same coating. That flip pan that you mentioned with eggs and pancakes, it flips. That didn't do so well. People didn't get it, but
Really, I thought it was really like, oh, it's so simple, which I think great ideas, they appear so simple.
That's
and nobody had them. A part of you, a big piece of that pie chart would be how creative you are. And all kinds of things. Where did that come from?
I think as soon as I don't have a regular job and I'm sort of like that serial entrepreneur, from my lunch bunch days, from my catering days, I am always creating a job for myself. And I think one of the things that has helped me was needing to pay my rent. I mean, right? So I'm never afraid of losing a job because I've always created a job for myself. So I think it's probably one of the skills that I've developed over the years. And in terms of entrepreneurial, like that whole mindset of what do I need, how to think about things. I think it also, some of that comes from my accounting days. So that's never too far away from me.
All right. One thing we asked most of our guests, what did you do with the first big paycheck that you got?
I bought my mother a suit.
You
I bought
did?
my mother a red suit. I felt like my mother had given me so much that I wanted to buy something for her. I couldn't buy her a house, but I could buy her. I could buy her a suit. It was my first big paycheck, like when I was working with Price Waterhouse. She loved it. She had that suit forever. I mean, I think my mother is so giving, but she doesn't see things coming back to her. And I tell my mother, we are your report card, and you get an A. So she's like, oh, Carla.
She must have been so happy.
Yeah. My mom is 85, and I feel like she is my biggest fan. She has dementia, but she has not lost that thing. Well, do you know my daughter? She's on TV, and she cooks. I don't cook, but you know.
Any chance she gets to say, my daughter's on TV.
Yeah.
It must be so nice.
Yeah, she is my biggest fan.
Well, you live in D.C. with your husband, Matthew. You work in New York. You got lots of different things happening. What makes it all work? How do you run your life?
I think the thing that makes it work is, one, a calendar. I have a great assistant. I have a great team. The business model of my team is that it's a co-op. Every single woman on my team has her own business that I pour into because that business pours into me. So we have developed this co-op. And I've worked with my assistant for 12 years now. She's amazing. I mean, and she's more than an assistant. She's like a manager. We create together. So there's that. The other thing is, when I keep my calendar, I physically write in nothing on the days that are for me. Mm-hmm. On that day, I put nothing, and I block out an entire segment of my day. Nobody can put anything on there. As much as possible, my team does not work on the weekends. I will never call you on the weekends, only if there's something special. But I recognize everybody's time for themselves, for their family, and we do that for each other.
Carla, it's time for our lightning round. We have some fun questions for you, a few would you rather type questions. All you ask is that you just give us the first thing that pops into your head. Don't think about it too hard. Okay. Would you rather have more appetizers or more desserts?
More appetizers.
You're in a jam, you need help. Do you call Clinton Kelly or Michael Simon?
Oh, Clinton. Sorry, Michael.
Okay. All right. Hootie Who or Hootie and the Blowfish?
Oh, Hootie and the Blowfish. I know. I have to sorry, husband. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I love Darius Rucker.
I know. He's fantastic. Okay. If you could have any role on Broadway, past or present, what would it be?
Oh, my God. Can I? Auntie Mame?
Wow.
I'm going to be Auntie Mame. Life is a banquet, and there are too many suckers out there starving. So live.
Okay.
You're like, okay.
No, I'm thinking the whole culinary thing was a path to get you to this, to your one-woman show.
Yes. I feel like I teach, I perform. Cooking is a performance. I love it, but it's still a performance, right? Teaching is a performance. And I think being on television is a vehicle for me to talk to people, to teach people.
All right. Would you rather Amtrak or the shuttle?
Oh, my God, Amtrak all day long. Hey, Amtrak, what? Yeah.
Okay. What books are on your nightstand?
Ooh, The Housemaid, first of all, and it's going to be a movie. So I have also Mark Nepo, the 5th season, and Strong Ground by Brene Brown. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. What is your favorite Peloton class?
Ooh, okay. Can I just tell you this? First of all, I do the walkabout. I have a Peloton at home, but I like walking with different people out in the world, like not.
I didn't even know that was a thing you could do on Peloton.
With the app, you could do everything. What? It is amazing. So this is what I do when I travel. So I do the little walkabouts, and I don't like the bike.
Okay, hidden talent of yours.
Oh my God, my tongue. I can make a clover with my tongue.
I can too.
What?
That's
I rarely meet people who can do a clover tongue.
It's not very often.
I know. And why do we even know that? We're so weird and wonderful.
It is weird. It is super weird. Do you do it with your mouth sort of closed so it sticks out? Like that.
Oh my, that is the most amazing thing.
3 of my children can do it.
Whoa.
But not the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the clover, I really rarely, maybe we meet more people than we know who can do it because it doesn't come up that often in conversation. But here it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
That's got to be the most unusual answer. Okay. Would you rather a bowl of Jamoke almond fudge or a bowl of mixed beans and collard greens?
Mixed beans and collard greens.
Okay. What's something you've changed your mind about in the last year?
People. No, it's no, it's funny. I say people, but there are some people that I didn't warm up to, but I think when I look and I see them, I'm like, okay, I see why you were this way, and I have an open mind about this person, especially when you have backstory. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good answer. All right, where do you keep your Emmys?
I keep them in my creative space, which is on the 3rd floor in my house. Right as you walk up the steps, they're right there. Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you. Okay. The last question, 2 parts. What is the best investment you've ever made and the worst investment you've ever made? And it doesn't need to be a stock or anything could be anything, class or whatever.
I think the best investment I've made in myself are all of the assessments. I did the Hidden Genius. It's a book, Your Hidden Genius. And I took an aptitude test, and it's only $99 right now, but it gave me the language to understand how I matriculate through the world and what my aptitudes are that have sort of been lurking in the background, but now I know what they are so I can lean into them. That was the best. I mean, and it wasn't expensive, but it takes a long time. So that investment of time to do that test. Mm-hmm. The worst investment, oh my gosh, I want to say is probably some recipe that didn't work. I was trying to make whole wheat croissants, and it was a 3-day process, and they were not good, and I cannot get those 3 days back.
All right, Carla, thank you so much for spending time with us. It's so great to talk to you.
This was so great.
You can catch Carla Hall on the Holiday Baking Competition event series, Next Level Baker, Thursdays at 9, 8 Central, through December 18th on Fox 1 and the next day on Hulu. Wishing you all a week filled with laughter and unexpected delights. We'll have another great conversation for you soon. Until then, onward.